Hey everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Devoted to Her. I am your host, Samantha Jade Minor, but we're all friends here, so you can call me Sam. Today I have an amazing guest. I'm so excited for you guys to hear her testimony. She is a phenomenal woman that has overcome so much, and I just had to have her on so she can tell you herself about the trials that she's been through and how she has overcome them. I just want to introduce you to Latisha Anderson. Hi.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so I really don't want to waste any time. I just want to jump right in and have you just, well, first let me back up and say we met really through a Facebook group. And I saw you do an introduction, and in your introduction, you touched a little bit on your testimony. And I said, well, hold on, I have to meet her. I have to talk to her. And you probably thought I was crazy at first.
No, not really.
And so we set up a time to talk, and I think we talked for like an hour. And I was just blown away by your testimony. So how about you just share your story with us?
Okay, great. Well, it's nice to meet you guys. And I'm Latisha Anderson, as she stated earlier. And my testimony is, oh wow, like I don't even know where to start, so I'm just gonna start, and then we're gonna go from there, right?
Right.
So in 2020, I had went to the doctors because nobody could explain to me why my face was twitching, why my eye was twitching, just nothing. Like, and I go and the first thing that they thought because of what I was explaining, and they were able to see the twitching, was that I had Bell's palsy. So the doctor was like, Latisha, that's what it is. You're not crazy. It's not because you're tired. If it's Bell's palsy, your face is gonna droop, but it'll come back. It's not permanent. It's not like paralyzation. I was like, okay. 2 days later, which was I think was a Tuesday, I did a grand opening for my business at the Chamber in Lady Lake. I went home and I started getting pain in my face, and my husband thought I was having a stroke. And we go back to the hospital. They say no, Bell palsy doesn't cause pain. We're gonna do a CAT scan. So they did a CAT scan and they said, oh, we see like a little pea-sized tumor on your brain. We're gonna do an MRI just to make sure. So they do an MRI. You know, when they do these things, it takes like 3 and 4 hours. So you're just waiting. And they come back in there and they say, no, this isn't a pea-sized tumor. This is a nice-sized tumor, which is why you're getting all this twitching and all this other kind of stuff. It's not benign. It's benign, so it's not cancerous. It's called a schwannoma. So I was like, okay, well, we want to keep you overnight for observation, and we want to get you to the hospital. So the next day, I think I sat there for like 2 days or 3 days. They sent me a picture. They showed me a picture of the tumor. They were like, this is a slow growing tumor. It's not cancerous, all this other kind of stuff, but we want to get you right in to see the surgeon. Now, this was during COVID.
Right.
Like, so yeah, everything was kind of weird. My husband couldn't stay the night with me. It was just weird. So they get me in the ambulance. They take me to Orlando, and the paramedics come to pick me up. And I don't know. I guess I was supposed to be out. I don't know. I was up talking. Okay, so they were like, this is the kind of patient we normally pick up with a brain tumor, right? So I'm just like, well, this is me. I'm talking to the paramedics as they're driving to Orlando. We having full conversations,
Now,
and I get to Orlando,
is it protocol
and
for someone with a brain tumor to be transported by ambulance?
well, I don't know, like because again, it was kind of odd. Like I'm just based off what they were saying to me. It's like my husband couldn't take me. Like they had the ambulance take me straight to the hospital in Orlando.
Gotcha.
And so when I got there, the nurses and everybody were like, I was sitting up in the bed, I was talking, and I'm assuming that's not what they were expecting because that's what they told me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm fine. And so the surgeon he comes in kind of like he's aggravated a little bit, and he's like, I don't even know why they had sent you here now. This is a 12-hour surgery. This is something that we can just do. And I'm this type of person. I will correct you if your tone is not correct. I
Good.
said, excuse me, I'm here because the hospital sent me here. Now, if this is not where I'm supposed to be at, then you should say that. And he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's exactly what you're saying, sir. So yeah, and it was doing COVID. So he was like, put a mask on. You came in my room, and I and so I'm just like, okay, sir. So I put the mask on, and he's like, well, I don't even know if I'll be able to do this. I'm gonna leave. So that Monday they leave, they come back. They tell me I gotta have a COVID test. I'm like, you're not sticking in my nose. You gotta figure out something else to do. So they had me sit in the cup. And the doctor comes back the next day and he's like, Latisha, he said, I put this up before the board. So the surgeons, they have a board and they all go up to and they ask questions and all this other kind of stuff. It was like a case study. And he was like, if I touch the tumor, I'm going to paralyze you. If anybody touches the tumor, it's going to paralyze you.
Oh my
This
God.
is 2020. This is November of 2020. I can't even remember his name. And he was a surgeon, a specialist, supposed to be the best. And he told me don't ever come back to him until I'm paralyzed.
Oh my. So you're supposed to get worse before they can help you.
Because he didn't want to touch me. Because if he touched me, he's saying he would paralyze me. And then he was like, you could do radiation, which is what I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna refer you out to do. He's like, but even in that, you could get paralyzed. So that's all that's in my head is that I can get paralyzed. There's no help for me. And oh, don't worry because it's gonna take another 20 to 40 years for this thing to really even do anything. Okay, I go to the radiologist. He says pretty much says the same thing, Latisha. These are the side effects, this, that, and the third. I didn't want it. I did not want it at all. I was like, I'm having radiation, I'm having surgery. What plus it's gonna take 20, 30 years for this thing to grow. So I do a live, I explain that to everybody. 2 years, let's fast forward. Within those 2 years I had been trying to get an MRI. I had to find my own surgeon. Doctors' offices were closing down because again, COVID was running rampant. So nobody really wanted to see you. Everything was like a year out. I finally found one surgeon or one neurologist or whatever he was, and then he wanted to just give me drugs. Like he wasn't trying to treat the source, he just wanted to treat the symptoms. And I remember laying in my bed because I started getting really bad headaches. It was like a year and a half after they had told me. I just started getting really bad headaches, like a year. And I was laying in the bed. I said, God, I don't even want to take these drugs. I didn't know why I didn't want to take them. I didn't look them up, nothing like that. I just didn't want to take them.
You felt
And
it
I
in
said,
your spirit.
right. I said, if you be God, then you're going to have to do something. And I'm not talking about minor headaches. I'm talking about they were debilitating headaches. And all I remember is I woke up the next morning. I hadn't took no pills. My headache was gone. I felt better. And I was just like, oh, look at God, and it was just like I trusted him, not knowing sidebar that my friend ended up going to the same doctor that wanted to give me the drugs. He gave her some medication. Then come to find out she didn't even need it. And when she went to wean herself off of the drug because she was never supposed to take it, she started having psychotic breaks like depression,
Oh,
suicidal thoughts. And I'm like, wait, this man almost prescribed the same medication for me. I chose not to take it. She did. She couldn't even just take herself off it. When she found another doctor, they said, no, we have to wean you off of this.
oh,
So I just remember thanking God for like, like,
yeah.
wait, that could have been me. Like I'm already got headaches and I'm gonna be crazy too. No, I don't want that. So fast forward, we moved to Tallahassee. I get my brick and mortar, my very first building. It's got 3 office spaces. Oh, a lobby, 2 office spaces. I mean, it's amazing. I'm in Tallahassee living my life, loving my life, and the headaches start to get worse. And
Oh,
I have no idea why. I have no idea what's going on. I finally get an MRI. Find the doctor, finally get an MRI. And in May of 2022, she informs me that the tumor had doubled in size, which
now
is
when you
why
went
I was
before, it was November of 2020,
right,
and now we're in May of 2022.
correct.
Okay.
This the same slow going tumor that they don't need to see me for another 20 to 40 years has doubled in size. So then I go back, I go see another specialist in Tallahassee, and none of his answers are anything I'm really trying to hear. And I'm telling him, I know what you're saying, but my face is doing different things, like in a positive light. I'm that type of person. What I'm not going to do is let you speak over me a definite thing when you don't even know. So
Oh,
I was just like, okay, sir, I'm just listening. So I'm getting headaches. My book signing, my very first book signing was the next month.
oh,
So it's like at this time I'm not driving. At this time, my doctor has given me a disability sticker for parking because walking inside stores, especially Publix, oh my God, I would get so dizzy. I started taking therapy. And the therapist was like, Latisha, really? Because I was doing so good in therapy. That's why I'm so adamant about your mindset. Like your mindset and faith, they have to go hand in hand because you
absolutely.
can't have You can't have a fixed mindset and say you got faith. That's not how this works. You got to have a growth mindset because in that is where your faith explodes. So she couldn't explain why, even though my symptoms appeared to be getting worse, I was doing way better. In therapy, I was able to drive. I was able to walk. When I started, the insurance company has to know where you're at. When I did my first test in therapy, with balance and all that kind of stuff, I had a 4. I
Okay.
needed at least a 30. Okay. I was at a 4. I couldn't hardly walk. I couldn't do this. They have you walk and look side to side. That was not an option for me at all. And she had me doing this kind of stuff. I just couldn't do it. And I was a 4. When I went back to her again within like 30 days, I was at a 24.
Ooh.
Again, the tumor was still doing whatever it was doing. But
Right.
again, my mindset was, I'm coming out of this. I'm really this thing's gonna change, and it don't matter what she say. So she literally told me to stop coming until after I had the surgery. She said, because after you have the surgery, Latisha, um, that's when the therapy is gonna really be vital for you. Well, I was like, I'm not having in my mind, I'm not having a surgery, okay? Because when I would say ask and it shall be given, that's what I was standing on, right? So I'm standing on the word, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have this surgery. 3 days before New Year of 20, going into 2023, I couldn't get out of my bed. The headaches kept getting worse. I was like, it feels like my brain is coming out my skull and it's trying to come out my forehead. That's the only way that I could explain it. But I was popping Excedrin, extra strength Excedrin, and it was working. And
Mhm.
I was taking them, and it was work because I was adamant I'm gonna be at my friend's wedding on January 14th. So I'm walking in her wedding, and I don't care. So, so I make it to the wedding. Everything's fine. I'm able to walk again. Mindset. Like you
Yes.
don't even realize that everything that I did, not knowing that I technically was not supposed to be able to do any of those things.
The mind
January,
you're connected and people don't realize that.
no, because they want to just you want to have faith when it's necessary. Faith is a 24-hour thing.
And
You don't just put it on when you need something.
not just that, but when doctors speak something over you, the one thing about you, you didn't come into agreement with it.
No,
Yeah.
I did not. It was just kind of like I just didn't like what they said. I didn't like how they said it. Like, don't tell me this is what's gonna have to happen, right? So I was like, So so again, I'm that person, and so as time goes on and February things start happening to me that was just like I couldn't explain it. And I closed my business down in January. I closed it. I said I can't do this anymore because I'm scared to drive. I don't want I have faith, but I got common sense.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you know you're driving and you're getting lightheaded, so I started timing myself. I knew I could only go like 15 minutes up the street. I couldn't stay that long and then I had to come back and I was good. And my office wasn't close. It wasn't far, but it wasn't close. So I had to close it down. And then in February, I had the weirdest thing happen. I was walking in my house, and all my extremities just gave out, like my legs, my arm, and I fell. And I didn't understand what happened, and my heart started racing. Then my heart would start racing. Then I would get really cold at night, or I get really hot. Now I'm in my 40s, so I'm like, oh, this must be hot flashes, right? Because this is extreme. And then I would just get really, really cold. One night, the thing happened. My heart was racing, and I literally was like, I'm gonna die. That's what I felt. And I called my husband and my kids in the room, and I called my mom on the phone. And I was just basically saying goodbye. Like that's what I was. It was a Friday. That's what was going on in my head. This is it. This is that. It's done. When I close my eyes, I'm not gonna wake up. I didn't tell them that. That's what I was thinking. So I was telling them I love them. I was telling my husband what he needed to do. I was telling my mom what she might need to do. Just all this kind of stuff. My middle son, Isaiah, he listened to the whole speech, tears running down my eyes, and he said, "You're gonna be healed." And he just walks out the room, right?
So the baby's got
I'm like,
too.
I don't get no whatever, because again, I don't know what's going on. So Saturday, me and my husband and our kids, we always have Bible studies on Saturdays. And so we wake up to have Bible studies. I'm sitting there and I'm just talking to my kids about faith and everything. And I literally hear the Holy Spirit tell me, you could have died last night. And tears just started running down my face. And I just started praising God. I have no other nothings. I'm going to praise God because it was clear that I was not going crazy. It wasn't in my head that this really was happening. That the adversary, that life was trying to do something, but my faith and my mindset was like, no, that's not going to happen. Even though I was kind of like, I didn't really want to die. You know how you just be like, it's done like I felt it coming. I didn't know what it was. My mom comes that Sunday. That Monday, I want to say, she was like, "You're going to the hospital." I
Well,
go
let
to
me
the
ask you
hospital.
this. Let me interject real
Hmm.
quick. What do you think? Because you were basically you were saying your goodbyes, and I feel like your family knew that's what you were doing, even though you didn't tell them that. And then the next day during Bible study, the Holy Spirit told you, what could have happened that night. What do you think was the shift? Because you still in your heart had your faith, but it didn't seem like your mind and your faith were lining up in that moment as you were saying your goodbyes. So what do you think
Because
shifted?
I think what happened was that's one of the things. Death is one of the things that we're all afraid of, whether we want to admit it or not. I had an unusual peace. I wasn't trying to fight against it,
Mm,
which I had never been there. I'm only in my 40s. Why would I even have that kind of peace? And I'm talking about the peace that surpassed all understanding.
yeah.
I ain't talking about I was just ready, oh, I just gave up. No, like I authentically felt it and I had no fear. And that's the most, I can't explain it, but that's what it was. There was no fear. It's almost kind of like, not my will,
Mm,
right? But your will be done.
yeah.
When you get to that place, it's nothing else you can do. And that, like, it's weird because when you say that, like, I think about my grandmother, because my grandmother had died November of 2022. She died November the 2nd. And when old people get to that place, they ain't fighting no more. You
Yeah.
know, they're ready.
Yeah.
And it's like she had this unusual peace. Like, we no need to have no records. You know, she had told us so. I couldn't explain it. I know that something in me yielded to a whole nother level. That, okay, I can no longer control this. I done all I know how to do. What they say, after you done all you can do, you just stand. I've done everything that I knew to do. I done changed how I eat. I had went vegan. I had lost all this weight. My cholesterol, blood counts, everything was like A1.
Mm,
Everything I had done, I knew how to do. I didn't know how to do anything else. You know, you have to get to that place where you take you out of your own hand and hand you to God.
yeah.
And I had to hand me to God. I didn't know what this path looked like. I wasn't getting no prophecies that, oh, this gonna happen. None of this. I got nothing.
Because
Not a good zero. I didn't get anything. So when the next morning when I wake up and I'm feeling okay, and then I'm still, because I think also I wasn't like giving God all the glory and the praise that he would that was rightfully due unto him. I was just kind of sitting there. You know, I think I was playing He's a Healer, um, by Miranda. So I was just playing it, while we were having Bible study, and it was almost like kind of like God was like, "How dare you sit here?" So let me be specific as to what I did for you last night. And it's just kind of like, it wasn't in a love, it was kind of rebuking, because rebuke means to push back with force. So he had to push back that pride. He had to push back that whatever that was, if keeping me from praising him like I should have.
yeah.
So let me be very clear, honey. The intent was for the adversary to take you. It was coming. That was the goal. I stopped that. You ain't had nothing to do with that. Type of thing. I
Yep.
go to the hospital and take the CAT scans, the MRIs, and the doctor comes in and no, it was a CAT scan. He comes in, he says, "Yo, Latisha, we're glad you're here. Yeah, we're glad you came here today. You can't go home. You won't be going home. You want to see this?" And he shows me the X-rays, and he's like, "You see that? Your brain is swelling, and there's a surgery that needs to be done, and we can't do it. We have to ship you to Shan." And so I'm like, okay, again, fear ain't coming over me. I'm gonna tell y'all what was coming over me: relief, because now it explains the headache.
Yep.
Now I know I'm not going crazy.
Exactly.
Now when I say the dizziness is like at a 10, it's not here. Because when I first started this journey, what 2020, even before 2020, doctors had me thinking I was going crazy. Oh, your eye twitching because you're tired. Your mouth is twitching because you're tired. These were things they were telling me because they couldn't see anything. Nobody had done an MRI. Again, they're just going by the symptoms.
Do
They're
you
not trying to figure out what the root.
do you feel like the medical system let you down?
No, I feel like it wasn't meant for them to find it until it was meant for them to find it. Like, it wasn't meant for the guy who was very rude and disrespectful to do my surgery. It
Mm,
was meant for the people at Shan to do my surgery. They couldn't do my surgery until my tumor got big enough that it would be able to be successfully removed. Because the part that he said that they couldn't touch, Shan's did not touch. That's the part that still sits there to this day. That's the part that still sits there. So no, they didn't let me down. They did exactly what they were ordained to do of God, which is not touch it,
Yeah.
which is tell me everything. So I went through a lot of emotions, but in the midst of that, my mindset shifted. See, I couldn't teach you about mindset if I didn't understand mindset. Like a lot of things we want to do in life and say God called us to do this, but we don't want to walk in a purpose that comes with it. We don't want to walk in a miracle that comes with that. Miracles are painful. I don't know why people keep thinking it's always a miraculous thing. No, when you get a real miracle, you don't went through some pain.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't went through some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Miracles are lonely because people don't understand. Miracles make you look insane. Faith is insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Do you know how many times Dude had to go back and look at the cloud and
Yeah.
was like, "But I know what you're telling me to look at it." He said, "No, go look again. Go
Seven.
look at trusting God is going back again."
Yeah.
That's the faith of it. So no, they ain't let me down. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
And you're
They,
absolutely right, because if as we look at, our purpose and those miracles, if God showed us what we had to do to get there, we'd be like, get somebody else to do it. It's not for me. I don't want it.
I quit. Don't worry about it. I don't need it. It's okay.
Waving a white flag. Yeah.
Yeah, I surrender. You still got to what? No, I don't need work. I'm good.
I'll just
I
live
know
one
that's what I would have said.
life. It's all good.
Yeah, like no, I don't want that. No. And in my mind, I had already went through enough. In my mind, I'm just standing. God finna do this miracle because I saw the miracle. How I saw the miracle, which was I was not gonna have to have surgery. I was not gonna have to have radiation. They were gonna check me, and the tumor was gonna be gone. That was
Ooh,
my will. That was not His will. So in the midst of shifting your mindset, you have to learn how to yield your will to His.
yeah.
Because we don't want to do that. We want to hold on to it. We want this miracle to look like. I want it to look good. I don't want it to be messy. Miracles are messy.
Mm,
The process of a miracle is very messy. That's the part people don't want to believe. No, no, no. This wasn't beautiful because then I had to say, I had to drop my own will because on March 1st, I'm going to get a surgery. They finna put a hole in my head and then put another one in my brain so this fluid can leak out. That is not what I wanted at all. But that's what he wanted.
yeah.
I had to go through that process. So when I woke up, because the first surgery I had was March 1st. When I woke up talking, but I had a little bit of brain fog. And so they were just, again, the nurses, they were like, man, Latisha, they would come in there having conversations with me. It's just something about you. Something about you when I come in here. Again, y'all don't drill me in my head, honey. Okay, so whatever you feel it is not me, right? This is all the Father. I had to wait 3 more weeks. March 28th, I went in for my major surgery. And I remember asking my doctor, Dr. Coke, I said, well, how long this is going to take? And he was like, I don't want to give you no time limit. I'm gonna just go until it's like time for me to go. I don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, again, I'm nervous. My flesh is nervous, but my inside had peace, a peace that surpassed all understanding. I was scared out of my mind, but I was in such a place that it was like either if I wake up on this side or the other side, I'm gonna be happy either way. I've made peace with myself and I made peace with God. And I go to surgery. One thing that I remember is my doctor looked like Clark Kent. He really did look like Superman. Okay, Clark Kent. And I was like, when I got in there, I said, "Hey, Superman." He said, "Hey, Latisha." That's all I remember. That's it. The next thing I remember is I opened my eyes, and as I opened my eyes, my mama was walking through the door, and I said, "Hey, I'm ready to eat." And my mother was like, "Tisha." So the nurses, she get the nurses and because she want to make sure I can eat. And the nurses coming in, I'm talking. I'm very articulate. I'm very alert as to what's going on. I'm like, "Where's my husband at?" My husband was like, "Oh, he with the boys." And I was like, "Okay." And they come in one by one. And they're like, "Wait a minute." Right? Again, I don't know why they looking so astonished. Again, I have to go back to the doctor had already prepared me that I was going to have a trach. I didn't have to have a trach. The
Mm,
doctor had already told me that I'm probably gonna have to go to in-house rehab. The therapist came in to tell me that I was going to in-house rehab, and he actually, I'm lying. The therapist asked me. He said, "Do you want to do in-house rehab? If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. I
Right.
said, absolutely not. He got offended. I said, now how you going to ask me a question and get upset about what my answer is? I said, my husband had already told me that the way this goes, that you were going to recommend rehab. I'm telling you that I've been under anesthesia for at least 16 hours. I've missed a
Yeah.
whole day, 24 hours that went by. I was out of it. I'm in this bed. Of course, I'm not going to be able to walk good. How would I be able to do that? That's just common sense. I said, sir, over the weekend we'll revisit this, but as of right now, the answer is no.
I
So,
like that for yourself.
right, like you got to be an advocate. Like, don't just let because somebody in a jacket, a white jacket, or they say they're a specialist in this area. If you say you serve a healer, if
Mm.
that's what you say you serve, then that's what you go by. He said, whose report will you believe? What does the report say concerning you?
Yeah.
But you have to let go of your own will. It was not in my strength that I was able within 48 hours. They took me out of ICU. I was there like Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, I was out of ICU. And I was like on the regular floor. And then those 2 days that I was down there, my husband was doing the therapy. They had it in the notes that a therapist was seeing me. It was my husband, but he a PTA, so the doctor was thinking I'm getting a therapy, and I am. And he's walking with me. The nurses are seeing me. The staff is coming in. Everybody that I'm meeting is like, oh my God, it's something about this room. Every time we come in here, it's something about it. Again, not me. It's God.
That's
My
good.
my surgeon came in that Monday. He said I refuse to come down here. He said I was getting all the reports. He said everything that people were saying you were doing, and I did not believe it, Latisha. He said I come in here, you sitting over here talking to me. Why would I not be? But that's my God. That has nothing. I did not do that in my own strength. I
Yeah.
did not do any of that in my own will. And what I've learned in this process that God has told me during this process is James 1, 3, and 4. And it's let patience have her perfect work
Mm-hmm.
in its entire. So you'll want for nothing. And the problem is we want a speedy recovery. When I was in the hospital, God said, don't pray for no speedy recovery. Pray for a timely recovery. Then
Mm.
he began to explain to me why my surgeon couldn't give me no time limit. It's because he respects the one thing that he cannot control. That's time. When you allow yourself to go through the process, the healing is able to do what it needs to do properly because you're not trying to get the results quickly.
Yeah.
During my healing process, that's when me and God got close like this. That's when things were happening that I could not explain. That's when I was sleeping and he would wake me up and say, this is what you're going to do today. So I already knew when I opened my eyes, I was going to fix my own breakfast. I already knew when I opened my eyes, I wasn't going to use my walker. But it's because you want to rush the recovery.
Mm.
Don't rush the recovery because you want to get there quickly. You trying to get back to where you was, so you got to get better than where you were.
Yeah.
Weird things were happening while I was in the hospital. I literally was like a compass. So I opened my eyes in my mind and I'm hanging upside down, like to the north. Like my head is down north, and then it happens again, and now I'm faced in the east. Then it happens again, now I'm facing the west, and then it happens again, now I'm facing the south. Right? Your brain is trying to recalibrate what's going on,
Mm.
and it's got to get its sense of direction back.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm yelling for help. Ain't nobody hearing me, child. Ain't nobody coming there because it was like a dream, but it wasn't. It only happened twice. It happened once I was in the hospital and when I got back home. But what I learned through this whole process, see, I done been through a whole bunch of ugly stuff in my whole life. Like I came through some ugly stuff. Me and my mother are 14 years apart. I know what it's like to have a grown man lay on top of me and tell me he gonna teach me how to play mom and daddy. I know what it's like to see my father hang my mother over a balcony because we're gonna go to church. All that ugly stuff. And here I am thinking I done been through enough. And God said, no, you have not.
Yeah.
Because everything you go through is for my glory. It
Yeah.
ain't for yours. You got to stop trying. We have to stop trying to create our own will, what we want, because that's the stubbornness. If his son was in the garden out there sweating blood, honey, and he had to say, you know what? He kept saying that this cup has for me. Then he had to say, not my will, Father, but yours. That's the faith. That's when faith steps in.
Yeah. And I
Because
would
before that,
say it sounds like during this whole process, you know, it wasn't a speedy recovery because during that time it was still growing your faith in God. It was still growing your relationship with God. And that's not something
even
that
now,
you rush.
right, and even now to this day, I went back November the 2nd, I believe. The tumor is dead. Like the radiation, because I had to do radiation twice a day, 5 days a week from June, no, from July to August. So, but when I went back in November, the tumor itself is dead.
Thank God.
What's around the tumor is the swelling. That's the part that's inflamed. So yet again, my faith has to be in that place where, Tisha, what is God trying to do? And you cannot live in a what if, because what if creates fear. What
Yep.
if this thing come back? What if this thing don't grow? What if this swelling still there? What if I have to go through the surgery? How about no? That's not my place. This is not my miracle to perform. This is His miracle. I belong to Him.
Yep.
And in order for you go through some stuff to authentically get to that place. Do I always feel this strong? No. I'd be a liar to say I did. No, I do not. Do I question some stuff? Yes. Do I still have symptoms? Yes, I do. Yesterday I had to correct myself because the dizziness had started coming back, and a fear started making it seem like it was magnified. And I had to say, girl, no, we ain't gonna do that. And I promise you, I ain't get dizzy no more the rest of the day.
Because God didn't give us a spirit of fear. We know that fear is from the enemy, but
Right.
but the thing is, it's so normal. It's a normal human emotion, but it's not one that God gave us.
No, and it's a condition. Life has conditioned us to fear. That's why he said when you come to me, come like a kid,
Yep.
right? Come like a child, because children don't have fear. That's something that they're taught, that you learn. Like the child walking, trying to learn how to walk, they don't know if they fall, they can hurt themselves. We do. Oh, don't fall, trying to get the baby there. So now the baby's scared. Now the baby done jump.
Yeah, if you let him, a kid will jump off a house.
And it's one of them things where like they don't understand fear, and it's
Yep.
just kind of like it's not easy because as an adult, things out there happen really crazy, really bad, and that's another thing I want to say is that God told me. He said, "Who told you this was the devil?" Because so many people was like, "We rebuke the devil." God said, "I ain't never tell you this tumor was the devil. I never told you that." And
Mm,
then he gave me two examples. He gave me Job, who went through hell and high water, and not one time did Job rebuke the adversary. Not once. He might have said some things and did some things, but he didn't say, Satan, the Lord rebuke you. And even when Yahshua was in the garden of, not when he was in the wilderness, when he was in the wilderness and the adversary was doing all that talking, he rebuked him. But he was in the garden feeling he about to go through some stuff. This joke getting us sweat and blood. He
yep.
never once rebuked the adversary.
You're
Even when they
absolutely
were tearing him down, he never once, because there are things that we go through in life that the adversary has nothing to do with. It's all God. It's a test. It's
yeah,
boot camp. How you gonna get closer to me? And it's preordained. It's predestined that I
yeah,
was gonna exactly go through this. And no, I could, because this is one thing. I was in the Apocrypha, and it said, "Speak not of the enemy's name, lest you give him power." So every time you turn around and talk about, "Oh, the devil is a liar," "Oh, I rebuke the devil," he said, "Thank you. I ain't even have nothing to do with that. But
giving him
thank you for
power.
giving me the courage."
And the thing is, even with Job, like you said, that was a test because for one, uh, the devil was looking for someone to torment, and God considered Job. There, he had already tried, but there was a hedge of protection around him.
Mhm.
So, but then the other thing about Job, he let fear in. That's what I learned because he did say the things that I feared most have happened.
But
So,
that's her thought process, right? We were like, well, this is like when you think about it, if I go here in this bad neighborhood, I could get shot. Then you don't got shot because you manifested that thing. You thought it. And it's like, that's why, again, through this process, I'm learning how to, like, faith grows through each level. Each level grows in faith. That's why I say you cannot take it off. That's something you have to keep on at all times. Because when you take it off, most of us only put our faith on when we need something. That's when you want to get to praying. That's when you want to get to calling the heavens down. That's when you want to get everybody laying hands because something now is requiring you to put your faith back on. Who told you to take it off?
exactly. If you keep that armor on, what's that Will Smith says? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Absolutely.
So if you keep that
Absolutely.
armor on, because that's why we have to hold up that shield of faith to quench the fiery darts of the enemy. You got to
Yeah.
keep it on every day, put it on. Stand on Psalms 91 every day.
And that the thing is, we kind of just use the scripture and the word of God when we need it.
Yep.
And you don't realize we need it every day.
It's kind of like boosting your immune system before flu season, taking your supplements and your vitamins before flu season. So that way, when it comes, your body already knows how to fight it off. I feel like that's how it is with
Absolutely.
prayer.
And that's what happened. Like, I was doing all that preparation for those 2 years, going vegan, changing how I eat, doing my supplements, the turkey tail mushrooms, like all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking it was to shrink the tumor. What was happening was it gave me the strength to bounce back quicker than what man was saying,
Yeah.
because my blood work was amazing, right? Like all this stuff was amazing. Well, you have been preparing. Some of us been preparing and didn't even realize what we were preparing for. We
Yeah.
were thinking it was for one thing. No, it was establishing something else. And
Yeah.
it was just like, because I was not overweight, because again, my body was like, oh, well, we already getting that stuff that we need. So, hey, we can bounce back.
Yeah.
Maybe not as quickly as I wanted to,
Mhm.
but quick enough and good enough that it was just like, oh man, this feels good. So everything that they spoke, again, the doctor was not the adversary, or the enemy was not using him. He was basing his answers off of what he knew.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily have the same relationship I had with the Father. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't even for him to believe in what I believed in. I know that bothers certain people,
Oh
but
yeah.
God chose him. God chose that whole team. I had two teams. God chose all of them to show who God was, strong and mighty. So whether they believed in what I believed in or not, they were going to reverence who I believed in. And they were going to know that this ain't got nothing to do with none of y'all, but everything to do with who I serve. So
Absolutely.
no, the medical professionals before this, they never failed me. They can't fail me. It was predestined that they were not supposed to touch me.
Yep.
So because he had my other team over here in Shands and Gainesville getting ready. He was like, Auntie, no, them they not ready. And I'm gonna say they're gonna say something that's gonna shoot that you're gonna be like, yeah, don't worry about it, bro. You ain't gotta touch me. I ain't never coming back here.
Yeah.
Don't even worry.
And that matters a lot. Like your medical team matters a whole lot.
Yes.
You can't just anyone touching on you and prescribing stuff to you and just no,
No.
no, your heart's not even right. You're not about to touch me.
No. That's a whole nother thing. Like I need to make sure we're in agreements, and I was able to say certain things, and I told them, what I was doing, and they didn't dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? It was like they were hearing, they actually heard me, they actually were listening to what I was saying. And when I said certain things, they were like, "Okay, Latisha." Like when they had removed the tumor after the 16-hour surgery, they went back and looked at it again within like 3 months, and my tumor had grew again. Right? I'm thinking now that it was swelling, but again, I went by what they said. He could have easily said, "Let's have another surgery." You know, he said, "Listen, we're not going to open you up again. We're going to do this radiation. Let's see what radiation is going to do." I don't want to do that. I respect that. That's somebody who's saying, "I see this, and this is not going to be good for you. Another surgery. Let's do the radiation."
Yeah.
And then when they did the radiation, and I went back, the tumor died. The tumor's dead. However, there's swelling around the tumor. So
Yeah.
then that's like my focus. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, God, decrease this, do this, and I'm talking to him. But
Yeah.
yet I'm still understanding that it ain't my will
Yeah.
at all.
Absolutely.
And through that journey, I've met so many people. So I've met a family that her husband was going through. He had cancer like in his belly. So we stay connected. So I sent her scriptures and all this. These are people I never would have met if
Yeah.
I had not been through this process. The nurses at Shan, the nurses that are in the hospital, the nurses that I met at radiation, all of them know my face and my name. Oh my God, Latisha, how are things going? I've been thinking about you. That's all God. I
And
had to go through it.
exactly, you had to go through it because not only that, the medical staff they're seeing, like you said, like okay, this is more than just what we did because they can't take the credit.
No,
And not just that, it's the people that you're meeting, the lives that you have touched and the lives that you're going to touch. Like I told you, people needed to hear your story because someone out there needs what you have to say. They have to hear what you have to say because they may be going through something or know someone going through something, and they just need that confidence in God. They need that testimony.
right.
And so
And
that's why.
so, like, even with this, like, the shifting of my mouth and everything, and it's like, Dr. Johnson, who he deals with this part of it, like the nerve section, and he's like, Latisha, I see movement. I see movement too. I feel movement. You don't have to even keep telling me because I know it's there. And even the surgeon, the ear, nose, and throat surgeon, Dr. Chan, When I seen her as I was exiting, I said, Dr. Ting, it's movement. She said, Latisha, you know what? We removed every nerve sensor that's over there. Like when we removed the tumor, because a schwannoma is your nerves turn into a tumor. That's what a schwannoma is. She said, we removed all that, Latisha. But you know what? If anybody gonna get this miracle, it's gonna be you. You're
Okay,
absolutely correct.
absolutely. No reason not to.
And then even now, as I'm talking to you, I feel tingling, right? Which started back because I ended up, oh my God, I ended up getting TMJ, which is like lockjaw,
Yeah,
right? So it started November no, October 30th, I went to the dentist, not knowing that that was going to trigger this TMJ thing. Because, you have to get x rays. So what happens is TMJ, I thought I was having an allergic reaction or something. Oh my God, it was like in my throat and then just feels like somebody's taking something and they're putting pressure on your jaws and they're trying to shut them, right?
right.
Oh my God. It did took me a while. My husband said it when it first happened, but I was like, no, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. And
Yeah,
then it happened again and again. And then, like, over the holidays, like Thanksgiving, I was eating parade food. Okay. I had to put it in a food processor. So, and I'm greedy. So whatever my husband was cooking, I was gonna eat. Okay, like no, you're not gonna affect how I eat. But what started happening is, again, the process of the miracle can be so ugly and it's painful. So this is what happened. So then the tingling started back here, like closer towards the end of November, going into December. And now when the tingling happens, the TMJ automatically releases because it's waking up my nerves on this side of my mouth.
oh.
Look at God. You see what I'm saying?
And what you thought,
So
yeah, what you could have thought was just something else that you just had to deal with. Like, no, it's all working together for your good and
for
God's.
my good, yes. So like when I feel that tingling, I get excited
Oh yeah,
because the TMJ, because I have to do all these exercises, and I still do them. And then once I do them and I start feeling that tingling, I remove my hand from it, and the tingling makes it automatically release itself.
so we've heard your amazing testimony. So now tell me, now I know that you're a coach. Why don't you briefly touch on that and what you do?
Okay, so I am now a master mindset coach. I started out as a life coach and then I expanded into mindset because I'm adamant that you have, in order to change your life, you have to intentionally change your mindset. Like people can get you to change your mind, but your mindset is something that you only can do. So we go in and we discuss those things like traumatic events that have happened in people's lives. A lot of times that conditions how you act, reply, and respond. But you got to shift that. Like I can look back over my life. You know how the old saying said, "I look back over my life and I think things over," and I truly can say I believe. But most of the time we look back, we remember the bad things,
Yeah,
the sad things. And so we go in and it's like acknowledge, accept, embrace, and evolve. You can't keep blaming your past for your present because if you do that, you're still living in the past. And so we go in and we show you ways that you can shift that. And then it's like it's intentional. It does not happen over the night, but you have to be willing to put the work in. And I tell people this all the time: life coaches are not life support. We are like defibrillators. We come in, you say you don't got no whatever, and it's like clear. Everybody have to step away, and then we do what we need to do to get you back on track. That's
I,
it. That's what I do. Now, I don't know what other way to say it. It's like when you're critical and you're in certain areas of your life and you feel like there's no life there, right? Because that's when they get the defibrillator out. We don't see no life. It ain't nothing showing life. So what we gonna do?
mm,
The defibrillator comes out, and we gonna do because we got to get that heart back, that passion, that thing that you forgot about. We
yeah,
come in and we say, okay, now clear, and we because the reason everybody have to clear out is because once it hits you, you come back, you anything can happen, right? And you have to do something. It don't always happen on the first time. Sometimes you have to do it more than once, but you got to be willing to do the work.
absolutely. Latisha, tell everyone where they can find you and what you have coming up. If anything, you also mentioned a book. Just this is your time. Just share all your information with everyone.
Oh my God. So I do have a book on Amazon. So it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Nobles online, it's at Target online. I didn't know it was at Target online. And it's called Embrace Your Ugly by Latisha Anderson. It's basically teaching you that everything that makes you unique, genuine, love, and simply you. That's the ugly. We are all ugly. Then I have an event coming up January the 6th. You can either do live or do Zoom.
Okay.
And it's called Girl to Woman, She Survived So I Could Live. And it's basically giving you the tools and teaching you how to come out of that. Why we got to have temper tantrums. Why we got to talk so loud. Just certain things. And it's like, okay, you condition yourself to believe that. You can find me on social media under Latisha Anderson. My pages are LL Anderson Coaching. My website is llandersoncoaching.org. That's my website where you want to hear everything. We travel, we do Zoom conferences, and like we even actually go inside like nursing facilities and we help the staff because yeah, COVID manifested a lot of things that was already there, especially in the healthcare industry sector. And it's just like, yeah, they need coaching because to do what they did and do what they did took a lot on their mindset and a lot of things that people teach us, like leave home at home, don't bring home to work, but
Yep.
nobody tells you how to leave work at work and
Ooh,
don't take work home.
yes.
It's a mindset, and it's like you got to learn how to do that. You got to because the value you place at your home is not the same value that people are going to place at your job. But a lot of times you still take your work home.
And then that
No,
starts to interfere with your home life.
yep, and you don't even understand it.
Yep. I love it. I'll also include all of your links to everything in the show notes and everywhere that this podcast episode will be up at. Um,
Okay.
what are your final words of encouragement for everyone that's listening?
Okay, so the final words of encouragement is that this is one thing I want to say. Anybody can encourage you. Not everyone is equipped to empower you. What does empower mean? To become stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and claiming your rights. You don't want to just be encouraged. The reason David was able to encourage himself is because he was already empowered. He already had the tools and the resources needed to do what he needed to do. When you get to that stage where all you need is encouragement, but remember this, you already have the tools that you need. You've already been empowered. God has already purposed you to do that thing. Sometimes we all need encouragement. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But the question is, are you empowered? That's where all lies at. And remember, I can't make you want to. All I can do is show you how to. That's it.
Woo! I don't have nothing else to say on that. Thank you so much for just sharing your wisdom with us and sharing your testimony. This was powerful. Um, I feel blessed that you even graced me with your presence today. Um,
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. I feel honored. This is me.
that's awesome. All right. Well, this has been another episode of Devoted to Her. And as always, take care of you. Until next time.